There are two types of flower in flowering plants, which require different methods of pollination. This is the transfer of pollen grain from anther to the stigma. It can be achieved through wind, which blows the pollen grain from one flower to another, or by insects. Due to the difference in method of pollination, their flower appearance is very different. The insect-pollinated flowers are what people normally think of when you say flower. They have their iconic petals, unlike wind-pollinated flowers, which are not that flashy, but nevertheless still contain the reproductive gametes. For insect-pollinated flowers, their most distinctive feature is their petals, which are modified leaves. They attract insects and provide a landing platform. Sepals surrounding the petal are also modified leaves, which protect the flowers when they are still budding. Some flowers have both male and female reproductive organs, while others only have one set. The male part of the flower is known as the stamen. You can't spell stamen without men, so this is the male part. It consists of the anther and filament. The anther produces the pollen grains, or the male gametes, while the filament holds the anther in a suitable position to disperse the pollen grains. The female part of the flower is known as the carpel. It consists of three main parts: the stigma, style, and ovary. The stigma functions to receive pollen grains. Fluid in the mature stigma also stimulates germination of the pollen grain. The style holds the stigma in place, while the ovary contains ovules, which in human terms we call eggs. In the ovules, there is also the ovum, which in human terms is the nucleus of the egg. So here is a summary of the features of insect-pollinated flowers and their reasons. Petals are usually large and brightly coloured to attract insects, providing a platform for them to land. Flowers that appear white to us might be brightly coloured to insects, as they are able to see past ultraviolet wavelengths. Stigma and stamens are normally found within the flower, which allows the insects to brush against them as they collect the nectar. Pollen grains of insect-pollinated flowers are relatively larger than those of wind-pollinated flowers. Nectar and nectar guides might be present, together with a sweet scent to help attract insects. When an insect comes to collect nectar, the anthers of the flower will brush against the insect and pollen grains will stick to the hairs of the insect. When the insect visits another flower, pollen grains are transferred to the sticky stigma. For wind-pollinated flowers, the description will just be: wind blows, and by chance, pollen grain blown lands on the stigma of a flower of the same species. However, to increase the chance of this happening, the stamens are hanging out from the flower so that pollen grain can easily be blown away. The stigma is feathery, increasing the surface area for catching the pollen. As seen, wind-pollinated flowers' petals are either dull or completely absent. This is to prevent obstruction of wind, so that pollen grain on stems that are protruding out can be blown away by the wind. The stigma is feathery and protrudes out, similar to the stamens. These adaptations will increase the likelihood of pollination. Pollen produced is much more than in insect-pollinated flowers to increase the chance of successful pollination, since there isn't a guided missile to track down a stigma. They are also smaller and smooth, allowing them to be carried by wind. Since there is no need to attract insects, nectar, nectar guides, and scent are absent from these flowers,